Winnipeg temperature on the 24th of November is about -4 degrees. Let's not kid anybody today. It is cold in Winnipeg. The temperature is -18 degrees Celsius. It is substantially below normal. But the Calgary Stampeders and Toronto Argonauts all week have said they are not concerned about the weather. Let's just get on with the game. And the Rocket awaits the opening kickoff. You heard in the coin toss, the Calgary Stampeders deferred. They won the toss, and both coaches said yesterday that if they won the toss, they would defer their choice to the second half. They want to see what wind conditions are like in the second half, and the Calgary Stampeders will have that advantage. The 79th Grey Cup game is underway with Darrell K. Smith on the return, and he fights his way out to the 37-yard line. That's where they will scrimmage 1st and 10. David Sapunjas made the tackle. Matt Dunnigan, the starting quarterback for the Argos.
Well, Matt Dunnigan would dearly love to have a Grey Cup championship. That's the one thing that's eluded him so far. It's going to be a big test this first drive to see how well Matt can gain the confidence not only of himself, but for his teammates. What Danny Barrett would like to do right away to get off to a good start, he wants to get the ball in the hands of those speed people. He doesn't know how long that sun's going to stay up. It's a fast track right now. The field is perfect.
And they start with the 6-pack. They have 3 receivers over to the left side. Now they swing 2 of the 5 that had initially gone there over to the right. Barrett throwing to his right. It's intercepted by Ed Barry. Barry down the sidelines. Touchdown. A 52-yard interception return for a touchdown by Ed Barry. So the Toronto Argonauts, unable to move the football offensively, use their defense to put 6 on the board.
Well, Danny Barrett tried a quick outcut, but you have to throw that ball low and outside. He led the receiver too much. Ed Barry was in perfect position to take it down all the way.
Danny Barrett was the only player with a chance of preventing Ed Barry from getting to the end zone, and he was unable to stop him. The pass was intended for Pee Wee Smith, so with the touchdown by Barry, the Argos lead 6-0, and now Lance Chommy, the scoring leader in the Canadian Football League, a record setter this year with 236 points, adds the point after.
Well, Don, it's exactly like you said last week. Everybody talks about the Toronto offense, and they have a tendency to overlook the defense. They're very strong at the corners. Barry, he's one of those guys that will lay back, and then come up with the interception, but that ball was perfectly thrown to him, not to their receiver. And, of course, they got Reggie Pleasant on the other side. Defenses are only as good as their defensive corners.
It's remarkable when you look at Danny Barrett's interception total this year. Only 5 times did he throw a ball into opposition hands, and on his very first pass attempt in the most important game of the year, he hits Ed Barry, who returns it 52 yards for a touchdown.
Well, we've seen the skill people be way off. Dunnigan was off, and of course, right here, Danny Barrett is off. Even Hank Olisic didn't get a very good kick. So when you're out there with cold temperature, that's what happens. Barrett had an angle. He tried to come in on him. Ed Barry was too fast.
Only 5 interceptions in 438 attempts this year, 1 in every 87 throws. In 1971, when the Argos lost, their only touchdown scored by an interception, a fumble recovery, and the Argos have it again. Keith Costello recovers the kickoff, and the Calgary Stampeders find themselves in a hole early in this football game. The Toronto Argonauts, who were loose, relaxed, and enjoying themselves all week, are enjoying themselves in the game that counts most, as they have jumped into an early 7-0 lead, and they have it 1st and 10 after the fumble recovery at the Calgary 30-yard line.
Well, that hurts more than the last play, because Calgary had a chance to come back out on offense. Now they don't.
Don, the LA Kings entourage and ownership of the Argonauts out here in full force today. Here is one of the most recognizable faces in Canada underneath all this clothing and this toque. Wayne Gretzky, is there enough clothing in Los Angeles to dress for ordeal like this?
Yeah, I'm pretty cold, and I told all my friends that we brought up that they've never seen cold like this, and they didn't believe me, and now I think they believe me.
Okay, we'll talk to you hopefully again during the course of the game. Don?
Wayne Gretzky last night with a hat trick for the Los Angeles Kings, his first 3-goal performance of the year in their victory over San Jose. Dunnigan's pass intended for Masati, incomplete. It will be third and 10, pardon me, and a Lance Chomik field goal coming up. So Dunnigan, although he is the starting quarterback, hasn't been able to get the ball to his receivers.
Well, he wanted to scramble. There was good coverage downfield, but watch Alondra Johnson. That's a key. Alondra's got good speed. He won't let the quarterback scramble. He's the spy.
That may have been something of a test for the injured collarbone of Matt Dunnigan as well, as he went down heavily. Lance Chomik with the field goal attempt. It is wide. And Greg Peterson in the end zone is going to concede a single point for an 8-0 Toronto lead. As they always say, defense wins championships, and so far the Toronto Argonaut defensive unit has played exceptionally well. Danny Barrett is in trouble, and he's cut from behind by Brian Warren, and the Calgary Stampeders will be forced to kick it away. Many people, in talking about the Toronto Argonauts, tend to overlook their very solid defensive unit, the #2 defensive unit in the league. It yielded just 27 points more than the #1 team, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
And Brian Warren is one of those people that helps the Toronto Argos so much. Good pass rush. He's had 11 sacks this year.
Thank you, Don. Make no mistake, the turf here at Winnipeg Stadium is very hard. So what are the players wearing? Well, the Calgary Stampeders are going with the normal turf shoe. Some are wearing what they call the Nike Destroyer, which has just a little longer rubber cleat with a point on it. Back to you, Don.
And regardless of what footwear they decide upon, I'm sure it's difficult to keep feet warm under these frigid conditions, a -18-degree temperature. Well, Matt Dunnigan certainly fooled a lot of people with his performance this week. At any official gathering he attended, he always indicated that the arm was very sore, that he was unable to move it. He is the starting quarterback, and Dunnigan is gambling on third down. He keeps, and Dunnigan gets the first down, close to midfield.
Well, Matt certainly appeared to be injured all week, but he did say last week at the conclusion of the ball game, you'd have to cut that arm off to keep him out of the ball game. Well, you got to move the pile, and that's a good job by the Argos. I mean, they moved people back, and Matt, he makes a nice gain.
Jim Kardash came into the tight end position to throw a key block, enabling Dunnigan to get to his outside and pick up the first down at midfield. First, Wally Buono in his second year as head coach of the Calgary Stampeders. What a job he did with the Calgary team this year. His career coaching record in Calgary is very impressive. 20 wins, 13 losses. This time pressure as Danny Barrett goes down, a loss of about 3 yards. Coming from their linebacking positions were Darryl Ford and Don Moan, and they got to the quarterback, Danny Barrett. With the benefit of the pass interference call, the Calgary Stampeders get their first touchdown of the ball game. Mark McLaughlin, who grew up in Winnipeg, preparing to kick off for the Stampeders. Rocket on the kickoff return, spins off a couple of hits and fights his way out to the 42-yard line, where Toronto will scrimmage 1st and 10. Scott?
Don, here's the Toronto Argonauts' official position on number 16, quarterback Matt Dunnigan. They steadfastly maintain it wasn't a ruse this week and say they had no idea he might be able to play today until they treated the shoulder yesterday and he threw in the hotel. The suspicion is, although the Argonauts won't confirm it, that the sore part of the shoulder has been frozen or numbed. Even so, Dunnigan is still playing in considerable pain.
If it was not medically frozen, it would be out here under these frigid conditions at Winnipeg Stadium. The pass complete to Masati. Masati was looking for a block, found himself all alone and tried to split Matt Finlay and Junior Thurman, and he's brought down. It would appear just short of a first down.
That was another mix-up. They were expecting a block to come in from the slot back. They didn't get it, and Masati was out there all alone.
The injured ball player is Chris Schultz, their huge offensive tackle. And losing Schultz would certainly be a blow, and obviously Matt Dunnigan is quite concerned about the state of health of Chris Schultz.
Well, Chris Schultz, he tried to go out and cut on the linebacker. He couldn't get Cofield.
.309 is the time remaining in the opening quarter, with the Toronto Argonauts leading Calgary by a score of 8-7.
To the right of your screen, you see a high-low block. Chris Schultz starts high, and then he comes in low on Cofield. He cut him right down, but it looked like he hurt himself in the process.
It looked as though Cofield's knee hit the helmet of Chris Schultz. He has had some neck problems in the past, and this could be a recurrence of that same injury.
They'll probably have to bring in Jim Kardash, and Kardash will have to grow up fast when he plays over a guy like Tim Cofield.
Cofield has tremendous strength, and he is also one of the fastest members of the Calgary Stampeders. But Schultz appears to be in a lot of difficulty as he gets to one knee, and they try and help the huge offensive tackle off to the sidelines. He is now up, and he is walking to the bench. But he is very woozy. He may have caught the knee in the helmet, and the force of the blow may have perhaps temporarily knocked him out.
I think it was the left knee of Cofield that came up and kicked him as he made the cut.
3 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. 8-7, Toronto leading Calgary in this 79th edition of the Grey Cup game. There's that pump fake. Dunnigan keeps, gets the first down, running to the 50-yard line. He faked as though he was going to throw that hitch screen, decided to run it himself, and gets a first down. The Stampeders made a couple of early mistakes. An interception led to a Toronto touchdown, but since then the momentum seems to be shifting. The Stampeders appear to have settled down. They're playing well. David Bevell was in on the stop on Beals, but not before he picked up a first down to the 52. Pass is knocked down right at the line of scrimmage by Mike Campbell. And that is also the final play of the opening quarter here at Winnipeg Stadium. It's 8-7. Toronto leads Calgary. Welcome back to Winnipeg Stadium and the 79th Grey Cup game as we start the second quarter.
What Wally Buono has to be proud of is the way they're changing up. They're getting a lot of good reads, and Danny Barrett is playing that running game only momentarily, only when he has to.
Two receivers to either side of the field. Barrett rolls right. He's under pressure, gets away. And as he tries to cut back, he's stopped by Mike Campbell.
Danny Barrett saved a sack, and he made a great move to cut back up inside. He came off the play fake, and the Argos just weren't buying that play fake. Watch him make his break. He does a tremendous job just avoiding the rush here of Warren.
It will be 2nd and 10, Calgary.
Well, there's Pitts. He's downfield. He's wide open. Said, hey, throw the ball to me. Throw the ball to me. But Danny Barrett's on the ground.
12:36 remaining in the second quarter. Toronto leading by a score of 8-7. Barrett's pass deflected at the line of scrimmage. Donnie Moan got a hand on it, and he knocked it down before it could get anywhere near the intended receiver, Carl Bland.
Good job by Donnie Moan. He got up. He was airborne. When he saw that hand go up to throw the football from Danny Barrett, he batted the ball down. That's the only way they could stop the passing attack right now. Knock the ball down. Moan at the right of your screen really gets up there and jumps up to knock the ball down. That's their best pass defense so far.
Mark McLaughlin with a 37-yard field goal attempt. If successful, the Stampeders will take the lead for the first time, which they do. 12:04 is the time remaining in the second quarter.
The Argonaut offensive line is weaker as long as tackle Chris Schultz has to sit out, and he will until he regains his senses. He had his bell rung late in the first quarter of play, was unsure where he was, but knows now he must be in Winnipeg, he says, because he's freezing. Steve?
Scott, the most popular spot on the Stampeders bench is the propane heater. The offensive linemen are having a lot of trouble keeping their hands warm. Don?
I would think they're also having some difficulties keeping their feet warm. And as the game progresses, that may become even a bigger concern. Well, the Rocket got his feet going and brought the football back to the 50-yard line. A 30-yard run back off that kickoff. Andy McVeigh made the tackle. It will be 1st and 10 Toronto from the 50-yard line.
Well, because of the Rockets' return, they get good field position. He makes some great cuts and always finds an open seam. It's interesting. They've been kicking to him. They certainly haven't been kicking away from the Rocket.
This is Toronto's version of the six-pack, and the pass is complete. And the Rocket made a couple of people miss, but he'll be stopped short of a first down by linebacker Matt Finlay.
This play is designed more to set up some other plays, particularly the one to Darryl Smith. They want to get the ball quick outside, hope to force a broken play, but Junior Thurman, he's not going to bite. He held on to him long enough for the pursuit to come over.
Second and 2. Ball is at the Calgary 52-yard line. Kevin Smelly gets the first down to the 45. So Hank Olisic moves in once again to handle this third down punt. As we mentioned, Hank Olisic playing in his 9th Grey Cup game. Tommy Grant, John Barrow, Angela Mosca of Hamilton, Dave Cutler, and Larry Highbaugh of Edmonton are the others who have played in 9 Grey Cup games. Wally Bono said, we can't worry about the Toronto Argonauts, whether Dunnigan is going to play, whether Pinball is going to play. He said, all we can do is prepare ourselves. We can't worry about anything they might do. The ball is loose as Barrett fumbles. It's still loose, picked up by the Argos, but I believe the whistle had gone.
He ruled possession when Danny Barrett made the recovery. I haven't seen a quarterback do this. This is a great athlete. Danny Barrett recovers his own fumble, and he shows some determination on this. He said, hey, I gave up one turnover. I'm not about to give up another one.
Darryl Ford, the linebacker, found a path to the quarterback. Danny Barrett lost control of the football, but the Calgary quarterback was able to get it back. And unlike 1971, when he did get it back, the ground did not make him fumble. So Lance Chomick will attempt a field goal from the 27-yard line. Paul Massotti will hold. This time the kick is good as the Argos regain their 1-point lead with 6:09 remaining in the half. Yards. That last kick by Jerry Corrick only traveled 5 yards.
Yeah, that pass for David Williams was high, and when they have to get up, Wayne Gretzky will tell you this, don't pass high to somebody. He can't run. He's got to take the hit when he comes back to the ground.
And wouldn't it be great if Wayne Gretzky was able to play in the Winter Olympics? Toronto leads Calgary 11-10. Barrett is hauled down. Mike Campbell reached out with one hand and simply flipped Danny Barrett to the turf. We talked at the start of our telecast about how Mike Campbell has emerged as a defensive stalwart for the Argos this year. It was never more evident or apparent than on this play. With one hand, he grabbed him by the shoulder pad and pulled him down.
Well, Mike Campbell, he's a strong, aggressive, continuous rushing lineman, and he never stops. He never quits. He's always working, always in that quarterback's way.
Jerry Corrick certainly wants to improve upon his previous kick. It only traveled 5 yards, and this one is better. It bounces to the Rocket at the 5. He gets a bit of a hold out of the outside. Look out! He loses the football. Calgary recovers. A 68-yard return goes for naught. Darrell Hall hit the Rocket as he cut back when he found access to the outside, closed off by the kicker, Jerry Corrick. And the ball came loose, and Paul Platney recovered after that brilliant 68-yard return.
Well, the good news, great return. The bad news is he fumbled it at the end. I mean, he came in and just made everything happen at the point of attack. What a return by the Rocket.
Well, Don, the rest of the Argonaut ownership entourage is in the warmth of the booth, but John Candy's decided to brave it in the great outdoors.
You're darn right, Scott. We're braving it out here. And,
what do you think of your team so far?
well, we're playing terrific. You know, it's tough back and forth. It seems the coverage is very tough. It's in our number, but ball's so cold to hold on to.
Well, it is cold here today, isn't it?
It's cold. It's bitter.
It's been a great week, though, in Winnipeg, hasn't it?
It's been a very exciting week. The people of Winnipeg should be very proud of what they did this week, and they really put on a great show.
Revitalized the cup, would you agree?
It did indeed. Yeah, polished it up nicely.
Okay,
Thanks, John. It looks wonderful. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the game.
Thanks for a great season.
Thank you.
Pass intended for David Williams, incomplete. Tucker had coverage on him.
And Matt Dunnigan had Kit Warnock all over him again, and you got to wonder how many hits Matt Dunnigan can take on that shoulder. David Williams trying to beat Tucker. Tucker's been on him all day. He's been covering him like a cheap suit.
What is it? Ladies and gentlemen,
You talked about Matt Dunnigan and how much he can take. When he walked back to the huddle, he appeared to be favoring that right arm.
Oh, he's a tough competitor, but that's a lot of hits.
Dunnigan's pass intended for Williams, underthrown. He didn't get a great deal of zip on that football. I'm wondering if that collarbone injury is causing him some difficulty right now. It appeared as though he had very little zip on the football on his throw.
Well, Kent Warnock came in and he just lassoed him around the neck, and then both of their weights came on that shoulder. Now they're looking at it. Dr. Jackson is going to take a good hard look at it, and I wouldn't be surprised at halftime to see Ricky Foggy.
1:35 remaining in the first half. 11-10. The Argos lead the Stampeders in the 79th Grey Cup game. Errol Tucker is the man trying to return for Calgary, and he's caught by Bruce Elliott back at the 23-yard line. Remaining, the clock does not start until the ball is snapped. Barrett putting it in the air. And he was looking for Alan Pitts, who was being covered by Don Wilson, and the two of them exchange words. It will be 2nd and 10.
Now, we knew that Danny Barrett would put the ball up. We didn't know when, but this looks like the time. And Alan Pitts on an out and up. He goes up for the football. Wilson doesn't like the fact that he wasn't able to catch it. And they get a little tough at the end.
And as we see on the replay, it was Wilson complaining to the official and to Pitts that Pitts grabbed him by the face mask and threw him down. Something Wally Buono does is rotate those 4 defensive linemen. He likes to swing Zizakovic in there to spell some of them off, and he moves them around.
Where's your favorite?
The Rocket loses the football. Who's got it? The Argos retain possession.
Yeah, that's a great job of pursuit. They get the ball out to the Rocket, but there's 3 people around him. I mean, the blockers bring the people who are defending out with them, so there's 3 people around the Rocket. He's lucky it wasn't a fumble.
I think Blaine Schmidt may have got into that pile to recover the football.
Well, it was a fumble. Then he's lucky that his own, Blaine Schmidt, I mean, the big guy came out and recovered a fumble. That's the way to go, big guy. Blaine's in there
Watson.
for Chris Schultz. Excuse me, Don.
Oh.
Well, I'm sure it's cold out there, and if it hadn't been for Toronto's interception for a touchdown, it would have been all Calgary in this half.
This is the final play of the first half, and Danny Barrett simply drops to one knee to take that final second off the clock as the Calgary Stampeders, under the direction of Coach Wally Buono, head to the dressing room, trailing the Toronto Argonauts by a point.
Wally Buono's got to be feeling pretty good right now. They started out with that interception for a touchdown against them. They came from behind. Adam Rita, hey, they've been getting pressured with only 4 people defending against them. I wouldn't be surprised to see Foggy in the second half.
Right now, let's go down to Scotto.
Job in the first half. This is a critical quarter for the third. This one, Argos have to win. They've got to put some points on the board, or Calgary's going to win it.
Okay, we're set for the second half kickoff of Grey Cup 91.
Mark McLaughlin preparing to kick off, and the second half is underway. The Rocket gets a couple of key blocks. And unlike his previous big return, he hangs on to the football before being stopped by Alondra Johnson, but he takes the ball all the way to the Calgary 35. A 44-yard return by the Rocket. Statistically, the Stampeders had the edge in the first half. 129 net yards to 51 for the Argos. That very first pass that Danny Barrett attempted was a key in the football game, as it was intercepted and returned for a touchdown by Ed Berry. Matt Dunnigan gets some protection, throws for Darrell K. Smith at the 30-yard line, and he makes the catch with Carl Anthony all over him.
Well, the Rocket put him in great field position, and then Matt Dunnigan responded. He came out, threw that ball, looked strong in throwing the football.
It's a gain of 6, make it 2nd and 4. The Rocket has certainly delighted the spectators today with a couple of big returns. However, one, he fumbled the ball. That time he hung on to the football. Calgary has passed 22 times, the Argos 15 times. Matt Dunnigan starting the second half with more success than he enjoyed in the first half in hitting his receivers, as he throws to David Williams for a Toronto first down. Calgary, 1st and 10, Calgary, the ball at the 35-yard line. Barrett with good protection, looks to the sidelines, and he overthrows Carl Bland. It will be 2nd and 10, Calgary, from the 35 of Toronto.
They changed up that time. They got good coverage in the secondary. Barrett couldn't get to anybody. Finally, the coverage got, the pressure got to him because the coverage was so good. He should have been able to get rid of that ball, but there were people all over the receivers.
2nd and 10 from the 35-yard line. 3 receivers wide to the right. Barrett rolls to his right. He had to dump it off. He had Brian Warren in his face, and just as he threw, Brian Warren brought him down. So the Toronto Argonauts defensively come up with a couple of key plays after Barrett had moved the Stampeders into scoring position.
Now, Danny Barrett went outside away from both running backs. You got to think that he wanted his blockers to be in front of him, so it was sort of a busted play.
Mark McLaughlin will be attempting a 42-yard field goal. His previous field goal was a 37-yarder. He was born in Liverpool, grew up in Winnipeg, played his high school football here, and the kick is wide. Carl Brazeley will concede a single point. 9:36 remains in the third quarter, and this game is tied at 11. 6:58 remaining in the third quarter. 11-11 is the score. Barrett was waving Pitts downfield, but Pitts could not escape the coverage, and Darryl Ford made the tackle on the Calgary quarterback.
Darryl Ford was on a read blitz. What happens is if his back blocks, then Darryl Ford is freed up to rush, and that's what he did. He rushed the passer after his back did the blocking. Danny Barrett didn't see Ford initially.
He was signaling, however, to Alan Pitts to go deeper, but Darryl Ford prevented Barrett from having enough time to send Alan Pitts deeper down the sidelines. Pass over the middle to Keevan Jenkins. He is wrapped up immediately at the 21, again by Darryl Ford, the player who led the CFL in tackles this season.
Calgary has given up more sacks than any team in the Canadian Football League this year, but it doesn't disturb their philosophy. Their offensive philosophy is, hey, make it up on the next down. They made it up. They didn't get a first down, but they're in field goal position.
What a job Danny Barrett has been doing under these cold conditions. He has passed for 218 yards. Matt Dunnigan, with all the offensive weapons that he has to work with, has only been able to pick up 49 passing yards. McLaughlin will attempt a 27-yard field goal. It's up. It's good. 5:35 remaining in the third quarter, and I'm sure 14-11 brings back some memories of 20 years ago. That was the final score when Calgary defeated Toronto in the Grey Cup game in Vancouver.
You know, that was a great picture, and the cameraman, they got to be cold out there, but if they could get us good shots like that last one, they must not be that cold.
14-11, Calgary leading the exact score after 3 quarters in 1971, and of course that was also the final score. Pinball on the sidelines gets a couple of key blocks, and he brings the ball back to the 37. The Argos on special teams have had great success, but they've lost the football deep in Calgary territory. Scott?
Down on the sidelines, I'm with Argonaut owner Bruce McNall and one of his guests at today's game, well-known Canadian and writer, actor, etc., Alan Thicke, who's freezing. Are you freezing?
Popsicle, that's what I am. No, I'm not freezing. I'm from Kirkland Lake. We put on the suntan lotion when it gets this warm.
That's right. And I understand that you have seen more Grey Cups in your history than all the Argonaut owners combined.
All of these owners combined, yes. And I have a scrapbook that goes back to 1956 of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, which is remarkable because that's before I was born.
That qualifies him, does it not, Bruce, to be a CFL owner? Should he not buy the Tiger Cats?
I think he's a likely candidate here for a lot of teams. The Tiger Cats is certainly one. The scrapbook goes back far enough, and I'm going to try to talk him into it here.
Getting tense here in this game, isn't it?
It is. It's a close game. It looks like the defense is going to have to win it, and something will get done here, I hope, this drive here.
Okay, some of your money players have got to get going here.
You're not kidding. Well, you know, it's cold, a little tough out here, but let's hope they can excite the fans a little bit, hold on the ball, and win the game at the end here.
You look great with the jacket open, too, Bruce. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, it'll be cool, you know? Thanks. Okay, Scott. Bye.
On 2nd and 11, Dunnigan overthrows David Williams in the end zone. I wonder what another David Braley, thinks of all the suggestions about potential buyers of his football team. Martin Short, Alan Thicke.
Hey, the price has gone up. I mean, what does he think? He's happy. Happier than Matt Dunnigan anyway. Matt was trying to get that ball on a crossing route. Calgary defense held up, so he went and put it up top. I think he just threw it away.
A 44-yard field goal try by Lance Chomik. If successful, the score would again be tied. It's wide. It goes for a single point. 4:12 remains in the third quarter. Just 2 points separate the Stamps and the Argos. The Argos have a first down at the 47 of the Stampeders. 3:09 with the clock running and winding down in the third quarter. Dunnigan fakes inside, steps up, throws deep for Darryl Smith. He's got a touchdown. Well, if there was any concern about Dunnigan's ability to put some zip in the football, he certainly disproved them right there with a 47-yard pass to Darryl K. Smith, and he rifled that one down the seam.
Well, that's that same thing we talked about, the pump fake, then put it right down the middle. We said Matt Dunnigan looked better the second half. He had a little more zip on the ball. I don't know what they did at halftime. Maybe he got hypnotized, but he came back out in this quarter, and he looks like he can zing that football. Darryl K. wide open.
With one flip of the arm. Matt Dunnigan doubles his passing yardage for the game, hitting Darrell Smith for the major score. Lance Chomik adds the point after, and the Toronto Argos move ahead of the Calgary Stampeders 19-14.
That was one of the few times Matt Dunnigan had the time. He had protection. He looked over the field, did the pump fake, and now he puts it down to actually the guy who's done it for them all year, Darrell K. Smith. Whenever they've needed a big play, they go to Darrell K. But look at the pass protection. Schultz is back in there. He said, hey, there's nothing wrong with me. I can block. And he does. Dan Ferrone came out and helped him. Hey, he's lifting his right arm, too. That's supposed to be the bad arm.
Matt Dunnigan celebrating a pass completion to Darrell K. Smith for the major score that has moved the Argos back in front of the Calgary Stampeders with 2:59 remaining in the third quarter. Hufnagel, a former quarterback with both Saskatchewan and Winnipeg, an assistant coach with the Stampeders. Barrett's pass, as he attempted to go to the sidelines, knocked down. There's John Hufnagel.
Yeah, and I know what he's saying now. The only reason Rodney Harding knocked that ball down is that they didn't block him low. Andy McVeigh's got to get in there and block him lower. Watch Rodney Harding get his hands up. I don't think Hufnagel or Barrett like that.
That's something a back has to do. Make sure that that man rushing can't get his hands up to prevent the quarterback from getting the pass away. Right now, let's join Alfie Schlegel.
Well, the Argo fans are few and far between, but these guys definitely stand out in the crowd. Guys, you love your Argos.
This is the greatest football league in the whole world, and the Argos are going to win it. Last possession.
Hey, these guys love their Argos. They're very optimistic about their chances. John, back up to you.
It was excellent by Calgary.
Third down kick by Hank Olisic with 15 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Pee Wee waits for it, and then he's caught by Bruce Elliott, the first man downfield and a man who has excelled on Argo special teams this year, and he makes the tackle at the 15-yard line.
I think the war of the special teams is being won by the coverage of Toronto. They haven't had that same coverage on Calgary's side of the ball. So far, Toronto's been holding those good return people of Calgary in check.
And Adam Rita told us that the special teams would be a key in the football game. He said that they're almost a mirror image of each other.
Both teams well coached on special teams, and they both have returners that can go all the way.
Well, I'm glad to see that Bruce McNall has at least put on a toque. He had his coat wide open a little earlier, but he is now wearing a toque, and Danny Barrett goes down in the grasp of several, including Rodney Harding, and that's the final play of the third quarter. The Toronto Argonauts leading by 5 as we start the fourth quarter at Winnipeg Stadium. 2nd and 16 for the Calgary Stampeders. Danny Barrett remains in at quarterback, throwing for Alan Pitts. It's intercepted. Reggie Pleasant, who plays the right corner, picks it off. Ed Barry opened the game, picking one off on the left side. Pleasant brings this one back to the 12-yard line. The second time today that Danny Barrett has been intercepted, a 27-yard return by Reggie Pleasant.
Well, you got to think that that one got away from him. I think Harold Hallman had something to do with it. Maybe that wrapped leg had another to do with it. But that ball isn't near the intended receiver, Reggie Pleasant. He's just back there playing center fielder. Hallman got in there, and he just disturbed him enough to make that ball sail.
The Argos now with a tremendous opportunity to really take control of the football game. They are 1st and 10 from the Calgary 12-yard line. Lance Chomik with a 19-yard field goal attempt. It's good. As the Argos improve their advantage to 8 points with 13:47 remaining in the fourth quarter. Fans at Winnipeg Stadium enjoying the action, and although the Calgary Stampeders have a statistical edge, the Toronto Argonauts lead 22-14. A couple of turnovers have produced points for the Toronto Argonauts. A first quarter interception. The interception by Reg Pleasant in the fourth quarter, resulting in a field goal. In 1971, the Stampeders, in their last Grey Cup appearance, defeated the Argos despite having just 8 first downs. The Argos were statistical winners that day, but lost the football game. Today, the Stampeders have a statistical edge, but they trail by 8. And in the broadcast booth, although we are protected from the wind, with the windows open, it is a little cool here as well.
We're protected from the wind.
Can I pat you on the back?
That window is open. Who's protected?
However, the fans at Winnipeg Stadium are certainly enjoying themselves, as they have all week. It has been a great Grey Cup festival, and the city of Winnipeg is to be congratulated for the job it has done. There were many skeptics across the country who doubted Winnipeg's ability to hold this 79th Grey Cup game, but I think the city, the volunteers, have proven them all wrong.
Well, Don, that convention center, every night, it's been sold out, and the people have been having a great time. Unfortunately, our hotel is full of Saskatchewan people. They've been having a great time, too.
First and 10 Calgary. The ball is at the 51-yard line. On third down, Jerry Korick had a little difficulty handling that snap from center, but gets away his best kick of the ball game, chasing the Rocket back to the 12, and with 4 Stampeders in his face, he steps out of bounds. 12:50 remains in the game. The Rocket has had 2 big kick returns today. He didn't have a chance to run the last one back, and he was also penalized. He took the ball and stepped out of bounds, and he had an exchange and threw the ball, resulting in an unsportsmanlike call. Dan Wicklum was the player he threw the ball at, and you'll recall the incident earlier in the year in September at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, when Wicklum's hit on the Rocket resulted in a concussion. So the Argos are back at their own 6-yard line. Deep throw for the Rocket, and he can't catch up with it. He was being covered by Errol Tucker. Dunnigan again used that fake and then went deep for the Rocket, tried to break the game open with number 25 flying downfield.
And Matt Dunnigan paid the price. The Rocket has got great speed. I mean, he is down. He's past everybody. The ball was hung up there, and the reason the ball hung up was that Shriko Zezekovic came in and knocked Matt Dunnigan up in the air. I mean, Matt Dunnigan had to throw the ball when he was almost perpendicular. That gave the defense time to react.
Second and 10 from the 6-yard line. Dunnigan in trouble. He decides to run. He is going to be 2 yards shy, maybe only 1 of a first down, but in this position, I would doubt that the Argos would take a chance.
Will Johnson was in there, and he come back out of there limping. Matt Dunnigan had to come out and break loose, but there once again, Zezekovic turned it back in, and he gave Caulfield and Stu Laird a chance to come back in and make the tackle.
Talking with Coach Adam Rita yesterday, he said of all the players he has seen who have been described as burners, the only legit 4-2 runner he has ever encountered on a football field is the Rocket.
Yeah, and he said he timed him, so he believes that time. I think it was in regards to Tim Caulfield was supposed to have run a little bit more than a 4-3.
Will Johnson, the injured player, being treated by Pat Clayton with 11:54 left in the game. Ilisic has already won 6 Grey Cups. He'd like to make it 7 in this 1991 season. Not a good kick by Ilisic. It goes out of bounds at the 32-yard line.
Did you hear the smack on that ball? I mean, that football, it must weigh a ton. I mean, I heard it from up here, and you would have thought it was going to go down about 50-60 yards, and it just died.
16 yards, the length of the Hank Ilisic kick, and of course with the ball going out of bounds, there was no run back. Ball is at the 12. Barrett looks to the corner. Pitts. Touchdown. She is indeed running, Caroline Jones, and the horse that gallops up and down the sidelines at McMahon Stadium to celebrate every Calgary touchdown in action here at Winnipeg Stadium as Alan Pitts takes the throw into the end zone.
Carl Bland did the clearing. Alan Pitts did the rest. You want a steady character, you look at Danny Barrett, look at Matt Dunnigan, two quarterbacks that seem to be able to overcome all the adversity, not only in this ball game, but in their entire careers.
Danny Barrett to Alan Pitts and the convert by Mark McLaughlin, and we've got a one-point ball game with 10:39 remaining in this 79th edition of the Grey Cup Classic here at Winnipeg Stadium.
And Dave Sapunjas, our hero again, he's in there on Brian Warren, making sure that in that six-pack, they don't get the pass rush. And watch Danny Barrett's reaction. He said, hey, I've been down and I've been up. I'd rather be up.
And David Sapunjas, who played at Western Ontario and caught an 18-yard pass to put the ball in scoring position for the completion to Alan Pitts, has made a number of key catches this afternoon and might be one of those candidates for MVP honors here at Winnipeg Stadium. He sometimes is the forgotten man in the Calgary passing scheme. The Rocket looks for a hole. If he gets to the outside this time, he's gone.
Goodbye.
The Rocket delivers. The $1,000,000 man provides cause for celebration among the Toronto Argonaut owners. An 87-yard kickoff return. The Rocket, with a late punt return touchdown on October 20th, defeated the Calgary Stampeders, and Bruce McNall, who made the investment in the Rocket, is going to get a return perhaps today at Winnipeg Stadium. 87 yards on this kickoff run back by the Rocket. Once he got outside of Junior Thurman, there is no way Mark McLaughlin was going to catch him.
The thing that the Rocket will do is he'll see the seam, and when he sees a seam, I mean, it is over. I mean, he takes that seam and puts on the afterburners. There's nobody that can catch him. I mean, you can't catch the Rocket with a kicker.
Lance Chomick adds the point after as the Argos respond quickly to the Calgary touchdown. 87 yards for the Rocket. And with the job he has done this afternoon, he's another candidate for one of those awards that will be presented.
Well, according to my calculations, that is the fourth big return by the Rocket. But the acceleration, the burst that he puts on when he sees there's a seam, when he sees the opening, he's got a tremendous burst, and then pure flat-out speed takes him the rest of the way.
Well, a snowball falls close to the Rocket, but even that can't prevent him from celebrating. A kickoff return for a touchdown, and now he moves to the bench to enjoy some of the warmth as provided by the propane heater. And for Raghib Ismail, that is a Grey Cup record, the longest kickoff return ever, 87 yards, the length of his run back. 29-21. 10:26 remaining. Ball was touched by the Stampeders, recovered by Keith Costello. Keevan Jenkins came racing up on the kickoff, looking as though he was going to field the ball. He let it bounce, but it touched him. And Keith Costello was there to grab it.
Pee Wee Smith didn't have a chance for it. What happened? Keevan, I'm surprised he was that deep, and they've been kicking those pop-ups the whole game. And it got a piece of Keevan. Pee Wee wasn't able to get there.
So the Argos, with 10:14 remaining, have an opportunity to increase their 8-point advantage. Incomplete, intended for the pinball. He was being covered by Matt Finlay. It will be 2nd and 10.
It's interesting, in this football game, we're seeing more passes underneath. I mean, you got all of that speed out there on both sides. The great wideouts, Darrell K. Smith, Alan Pitts, all those fast receivers, and yet the consistent offensive plays have been the underneath routes, dumping the ball off.
Wally Buono has to be concerned about the number of errors his team has committed. Fumbles, mishandling the ball on kicks, and of course 2 interceptions. They were a +20 in the giveaway takeaway category this season. Deep throw, touchdown Masadi. Masadi jumped up and hauled the ball in front of Ken Watson. Both Masadi and Darrell K. Smith were down at the goal line, and Masadi went up to haul it in.
Well, we talked about it before when Masadi didn't get that pass that was sent to Kent. When Kent Watson knocked it down, we said that's what happens. Masadi makes those plays. He loves that end zone, and what an unlikely hero from Acadia. I mean, that is a big play in this ball game.
With 9:41 remaining, the Argos now lead 35-21.
And you want to talk about character studies. This guy has to have character. Matt Dunnigan injured all week, injured all season practically, and he's coming back with a fine ball game.
Lance Chomick adds the point after. And the Toronto Argonauts very quickly, after the Stampeders moved within a single point, have now taken a 15-point lead. 9:41 is the time remaining in this 79th edition of the Grey Cup game.
So much for statistics, Don. I don't think Matt Dunnigan is worried at all about statistics now. He's had some excellent throws. And hey, you only need a couple when you can throw the ball like Matt. That's just going up and bringing the ball down as though it's your own. And we've seen Masadi do that most of the year. I mean, this is a busted play. There shouldn't be two, David Williams or Masadi. Somebody's wrong, but it doesn't matter because Masadi brought it down.
The end result is all, I suppose, that really counts.
And Matt Dunnigan saying, see, I'm going to win a Grey Cup. I told you I wasn't hurt that bad. I'm going to play.
We showed you the statistic about the 1971 Grey Cup game.
Baby, that's for you. Stony Creek, that's for you too, baby.
Where the Stampeders won with only 7 first downs. The Argos only have 7 first downs so far in this game. Pee Wee Smith tackled by J.P. Izquierdo as he brings the ball back to the 32. Once again, let's join Alfie Schlegel. Back to the live action. Darrell Ford knocked down the pass. It will be 2nd and 10. 7:12 the time remaining in the game. Barrett's pass knocked down at the line of scrimmage, and Brian Warren thought he was going to pick that ball off as it hung up in the frigid Manitoba weather.
Danny Barrett doesn't throw many sidearm passes, and it's interesting how many knockdowns the Argos have had. And I think they must be trying to get their hands up right at the time when Barrett starts to deliver the ball. They must have worked on it. They've been doing extremely well. It's their best pass defense.
Matt Dunnigan has not changed his number, but he is having some difficulties with his helmet, so he is wearing number 26 while his own is being repaired. 1st and goal for Calgary. The ball is at the Toronto 2-yard line. Danny Barrett has to throw this one away. He was under tremendous pressure, and he simply threw that one to the sidelines and out of bounds. The closest receiver to it was Alan Pitts, but he got some heat up the middle as he dropped back trying to set up.
He certainly did. Harold Hallman is the guy that comes upside, and what he just beat 2 blockers actually, and Hallman put the pressure on him. Barrett had to throw it away. So you watch the pressure that he's getting on those 2 people. Danny Barrett doesn't have anywhere to go but to put that ball up.
Hallman was in his face extremely quickly.
Right between 2 blockers.
Now the short yardage offense comes out for Calgary. Barrett fakes. He's under pressure. Campbell And Gaines came through, and Gaines got to him. I'm a little surprised that the Stampeders opted to throw the football from the 2-yard line.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a run as well, but nobody on the Argos team did. I mean, Gaines came right in. He didn't even buy the fake. The play fake meant nothing to the Argo defense. Danny Barrett comes off the play fake. All it did was hold Barrett, and now he can't avoid Chris Gaines coming in.
Chris Gaines makes the sack. The Stampeders are going after it on 3rd down. 4:57 remaining. Remember, they have to put it in the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Sapunjas, and the Toronto Argonauts will take over as the Stampeders lose the ball on downs. Big play, the 87-yard kickoff return for a touchdown after the Stampeders had moved within a single point.
Well, the guy who made a big play was Chris Gaines, and that's a guy that's probably going to retire after this year. He's got a degenerative ankle.
He's had surgery on his ankle 5 times, and doctors have indicated that if he continues to play, he could become crippled by the time he's 40. So he has indicated this will be his final game, and his Argo teammates have dedicated this football game to him. And number 38, the man affectionately referred to as Jethro, has played a solid game defensively, and what a play he made to sack Danny Barrett on 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line.
And he's the spokesman of the team. He's got a little bit of a rap special that he does for the rest of the ball club.
.352 the time remaining. Matt Dunnigan on 2nd down, pumps, throws deep down the sidelines for the Rocket, incomplete. Covered by Junior Thurman. Some of the Argos come off the bench to complain to the official that the Rocket was interfered with, but there is no flag. Let's join Scott Oak.
Don, I've been watching Matt Dunnigan throughout this game on the sidelines, and he's nothing like he usually is. And what I mean by that is he has been in discomfort, obvious discomfort, with gusts up to pain, so that makes his effort today truly outstanding. It seems a virtual certainty that he took a shot of freezing in his shoulder so that he could play today, but still he is playing in a lot of pain. The receivers have confided in me and told me that he can throw for distance, but the balls don't have the same zip on them. Not that it matters now with the score the way it is.
3:37 remaining, and the Toronto Argonauts lead 36-21 as Hank Olisic stands in the end zone. Calgary will get pretty good field position. Pee Wee Smith lets the ball bounce. Thought he might trap someone within that 5-yard area, but the Argos wisely stayed back. Blaine Schmidt is downfield to make the tackle. A 36-yard kick, a 1-yard run back. Well, Bruce McNall in 1988, when he purchased Wayne Gretzky from the Edmonton Oilers, probably thought he might wind up winning a Stanley Cup as a result. He might wind up with a Grey Cup before he ever wins a Stanley Cup if the Argos can protect this 36-21 advantage.
And he still might win a Stanley Cup this year.
Danny Barrett has put the ball in the air 47 times today. That's just one shy of the Grey Cup record set by Jack Jacobs with Winnipeg in 1953. And that's the pass to Pee Wee Smith that will equal the Jack Jacobs record.
Yeah, Mike Campbell came all the way over from his defensive line position to make the tackle.
Calgary picks up the first down with Pee Wee Smith on the receiving end of the throw. Ed Berry grabbed him, and then Campbell came over to knock him out of bounds. Barrett tackled by Rodney Harding back at the 45-yard line. He was looking deep for Sean Beals.
He didn't have the time, and Rodney Harding just spun around the blocker and came in on Danny Barrett. You don't usually get a sack when you go low on the quarterback, but that's exactly what happened.
2:38 is the time remaining.
And he's not able to get out of the way, and look at Harding. Right in on his bad leg and pulled it up.
Second and 20, Calgary. Barrett steps away from the pressure, throws along the sidelines, and overthrows Sean Beals. So it will be 3rd and 20. And I don't think there's much doubt with 2:20 remaining that the Calgary Stampeders will go for it.
Well, they have to go for it, and I'm sure looking back, when they think about the 2 fumbles they gave up on kick-off returns, they ran up on the ball. Those short kicks really disrupted them, and they turned the ball over for 10 points.
This might be the final opportunity for the Calgary Stampeders to pull this one out. They're looking at 3rd and 20 from the 45-yard line. 2:20 is the time remaining in the game. Over the middle to Sean Beals. He's short of the first down. As he made the catch, it appeared as though he lost his footing, and he came down short of the first down.
Oh, Danny Barrett won't be happy with that. Your receivers have to run their routes so that they get the first down on the throws. But Beals, he broke it off too soon, and he didn't get any yardage after he caught the football. Look at Danny Barrett shaking his head. He's saying, Sean, let's get some depth before you make that break. Really, nobody around him either.
Had he been able to stay on his feet, Beals only needed about 3 more yards, and he would have had a Calgary first down. But as it is, the Argos take over with 2:15 remaining.
Well, there's Matt Dunnigan. I mean, he's expecting a baby any day now. His second child.
The ball is loose. Who's got it? The Argos have recovered. Dunnigan had a little trouble with the exchange from center.
I think that's from not practicing. I mean, he's had that problem. This is the second time he's had that problem in the ball game. Anyway, it's a great week for Matt Dunnigan, because if Matthew can hold on to this victory, he'll have a Grey Cup victory, possibly a baby, and his parents are celebrating their 33rd anniversary. And that's what Matt Dunnigan wants to drink out of, a little champagne out of the Grey Cup.
Originally designed to be presented as an amateur hockey trophy. Some might say that's appropriate on a day such as today. The Grey Cup wound up being presented for the football championship in this country. Matt Dunnigan runs with the ball, and Matt Dunnigan is brought down at the 37-yard line, but most importantly for the Argos, he takes a lot of time off the clock. 1:44 is the time remaining.
Typical Matt Dunnigan play. I mean, here he is. He's all but got the Grey Cup wrapped up. He sprints out, and instead of going out of bounds that would let the clock run, what did he do? He put his head down, drove through about 4 different people, and Wayne Gretzky saying, hey, that's my guy. That's my quarterback.
Wayne Gretzky, John Candy, and Bruce McNall purchasing the Toronto Argonauts this past year. And their investment is going to pay dividends, as in their initial year as owners of this football team, they are 134 away from winning the Grey Cup. Hank Olisic's 3rd down punt, taken by Errol Tucker, nowhere to go. Paul Nastasiuk was the first downfield to make sure he didn't get beyond the 38-yard line. The Rocket electrified the crowd. An 87-yard touchdown return on a kickoff after the Stampeders had moved to within a single point.
Well, he didn't get a chance to catch many balls from the line of scrimmage, but he caught some kick returns, and he did the most with it.
Adam Rita's son Kevin, who is a wide receiver at Boise State, is watching today's game via satellite. Adam asked us to say hello. Commissioner Donald Crump preparing for the presentation of the Grey Cup. It will take place on the field here at Winnipeg Stadium. And surprisingly, despite the fact that the majority of fans here have declared support for the Calgary Stampeders, it's a cold afternoon, they are still in their seats. Maybe they're stuck there, they can't get up. Carl Bland on the receiving end. First down, Calgary.
Well, they had a tremendous ovation, and the reason the ovation came about was they were thanking the city of Winnipeg. So that's how the people feel about the hospitality that's been afforded to them this Grey Cup week.
1:03 remaining in the game. Danny Barrett's pass drilled over the middle for a first down to Sean Beals at the 44 with 59 seconds remaining. The Toronto Argonauts are using the Winnipeg Blue Bomber locker room, and it looks as though there's going to be a rather lively celebration taking place there in about 55 seconds. Barrett's pass over the middle, first down to Sapunjas at the 24.
Well, you always look for who played a great game, and the Argos can take satisfaction in the fact that their marquee players have done a great job out there. Darrell K. Smith, the guy that always comes through with some big plays, he was there to get them the lead.
Barrett to Pee Wee Smith. The initial contact by Chris Gaines as he's brought down at the 17-yard line by Darryl Ford. 39 seconds remaining. 36-21. The Argos leading Calgary.
Calgary will have a lot of yardage when this ball game is over. Just the two bombs really from the Toronto side of the ball.
Wide open in the end zone. Alan Pitts, he can't haul it in. He got in behind Dave Bavell, and he could not reach up to haul in the throw from quarterback Danny Barrett. 27 seconds showing on the scoreboard clock now.
I'm watching Danny Barrett throw, and he's not really getting everything into it. Now, you got to think that a little bit of that problem has been the pulled quadricep muscle.
Third and 4, Calgary. Barrett complete to Simeon, and he should have the first down. He is stopped at about the 13-yard line by Don Wilson. 23 seconds remain.
Well, the Argo defense is doing exactly what they want to do. They're allowing him to make the catch. They're coming up making good, solid tackles, but more importantly, they're wasting time. They know the potential of the Calgary Stampeders.
Said the ball was at the 13-yard line. Judging by the spot, though, well, they do have it. The measurement reveals as they brought out the chain that they just made it. 23 seconds remaining. They actually spotted the ball at the 14-yard line. First and 10, Calgary. Stampeders trailing by 15. Barrett looks to the end zone. It is intercepted. Reggie Pleasant with the third Toronto interception of the football game, and that will guarantee a Toronto Argonaut Grey Cup triumph with just 13 seconds remaining here in this 79th edition of the Grey Cup game at Winnipeg Stadium. Ed Berry opened the game by intercepting a Danny Barrett pass and returning it for a touchdown. Reggie Pleasant has picked off 2 in the fourth quarter. One of them paved the way to a field goal. This one will pave the way to an Argo victory.
That's Reggie Pleasant's second interception. He's just been dropping back playing center field. He just waits for the bad throw, and then he pulled it off. Chris Gaines, he doesn't wait for anything. I mean, he wants to hit somebody. He's still fired up.
Chris Gaines prepared to celebrate a Grey Cup victory in his last appearance as a Toronto Argonaut. He has indicated that he is retiring. Dunnigan simply grounds the ball, and we're really not sure the amount of time remaining. It should be about 11 seconds, but they have had problems with the clock all day. Wally Buono and Larry Rickman, the coach and the owner, watching the final seconds tick off. And they may have some problems trying to present the Grey Cup on the field here at Winnipeg Stadium as fans are coming out of the stands onto the field. Bruce McNall, the owner, now with Alfie Schlegel. Alfie?
Thanks, Donna, with Bruce McNall. Bruce, you must be absolutely thrilled. How's the team? How do you feel?
Fantastic. I am thrilled to death. I'm so proud of the players and everybody else involved, and for Wayne and John especially, who grew up right in Toronto, and I think it's a dream come true for everybody. It's fantastic.
How's the first Grey Cup feel?
It's amazing. I can't believe it. I feel so lucky. I just can't imagine. Fantastic.
Congratulations. Good year. Back to you, John.
Yes, indeed, a great year for the Toronto Argonauts. The purchase of the team by the Bruce McNall Group, Wayne Gretzky and John Candy, the other two partners who purchased the football team, the signing of the Rocket, and culminated today in the winning of the Grey Cup. A tremendous performance by the Toronto Argonauts. A team all week that was extremely loose as they prepared for this Grey Cup game, and now Don Crump, the commissioner, is going to present the trophy.